Okay, now let's install a text editor, which we'll be using to edit the backend pass server files. Mostly they would be JavaScript. We have many options to choose from. This is Atom, the one we are looking at right now. It's a text editor offered by GitHub. It's very nice. Actually, it's my favorite, but I don't think we'll be using it. First, you have a basic option. Windows by default comes with this Notepad. Notepad is very lightweight, meaning that as you click on it, it opens. It doesn't have to log any it doesn't have to load any plugin or extension or anything like that. But the problem with Notepad is that it doesn't offer any IntelliSense or syntax highlighting. So if I'm trying to write JavaScript code, say document dot get element by ID, and just kind of open close. It doesn't, it's all black. There's no, this is an object, so it's highlighted maybe blue. This is a function, it's highlighted another color. It doesn't offer any of that. Everything uh, is just black. And if you go to a new line, this is a comment, this is a comment, still just black. So it doesn't offer any of those advantages. That's why we need to download a text editor. They other than Atom, there's also Bracket, which is made, I think, by Apache. Some people say it's good, but you can use it also if you want to. No, sorry, it's made by Adobe. Uh, but I think we're going to stick with VS Code. And also there is Notepad++. Notepad++ is kind of like Notepad, but it has added advantages. It offers, you can see here, it offers syntax highlighting. So all your functions will be highlighted. It's much more easier, and it also offers a bit of IntelliSense. So while you are trying to write something, it will attempt to kind of uh, give you suggestions of how the word might end. Maybe it's a function name or something like that. So Notepad++ is also an option if you just want a lightweight text editor that's kind of intelligent in its own way. So, but we're not going to use that. Let's download VS Code. So VS Code will be downloading for Windows, but let's just scroll down. For Windows, there is user installer and system installer. The user installer will be installed in the user folder, so it would be installed inside users. For example, my current user is Quantum, so it would be inside Quantum, and then there is one app data folder. So it will be installed only to that specific user, the user currently logged in this computer. But when you the system installer, when you use the system installer, it will install the Virtual Studio Code, the VS Code software, to the entire system. So all the users on that computer can be able to use that Visual Studio Code software. So we are going to download the system installer, 64-bit. Okay. I'm going to fast forward this. Now let's run the setup installer. Accept the license agreement. The folder is fine. Uh, Name is fine. Maybe you might want a desktop icon, but I don't really want it. So you can also add it to the context. I think we should add this to file and folder. What this does is every time you right click for this specific line, add open with code action to Windows Explorer. File context. When you right click on a file, the option, you get the option open with code so that you can try to edit that file or read it using code. And this open with code, this gives you the option when you right click on a directory, so on a folder, it gives you that open with code option so that you can open the directory as a project inside code. Register code as an editor for supported file types. Yeah, sure, do that. Now let's click next. Also add to path so that you can just code and then give it the name you want to read wherever you are when you're using command prompt. Click next and it's on. Also, one of the option why I chose Visual Studio Code is that Visual Studio Code has a really big community. Though that community have helped develop extensions and plugins for Visual Studio Code. So it's much more versatile in its nature. You can even link Visual Studio Code to a compiler. You can, even if a new language comes up like Kotlin, you can just install an extension for Kotlin and all of a sudden Visual Studio, we want to launch it. All of a sudden Visual Studio Code will be able to work with that language. It will know all the syntax of the language and all that. So that's a really good thing. Help improve. Let's close this. We want to go to extensions. We want to install the one for JavaScript because that's the language we'll be working with. Let's just search it. Yes. Yeah. Let me just be a little bit specific. Okay. JavaScript and TypeScript nightly. Okay. Enables power VS Code within support. I don't really like this nightly name. It makes it sound like it's in development or something. I don't think it's what we are looking for. But let me just try doing something. Let me just close this. Close this also. Let's create a new file. Let's try and save it. Let's save it in the desktop. Just call it index.js. It's not a plain text. It's a JavaScript file. Let's save. And let's say document. Sorry. Document dot commit mode. Okay, we don't need to install any extension for JavaScript. By default, apparently VS Code has an inbuilt extension for JavaScript. So I think we are done. Thank you very much.